but I wouldn't change a thing. I've said that 3 times, and I'll say it again. I would not change a thing.
Welcome to Watch Mojo. And today, we're looking at instances where celebrities openly acknowledged that they did something terrible, whether or not they were remorseful about it.
Not really. I mean, it's not really a big deal to me now as far as that situation. I think I'm past that in my life.
Tiger Woods, still widely considered the GOAT of the golf course. Tiger Woods' reputation was squeaky clean until 2009, when rumors of an extramarital affair started circulating. The plot thickened days later when Woods was involved in a car accident, leading more to speculate if there was trouble at home.
Initially, it was Tiger Woods' life that appeared to be in jeopardy. No one knew it was merely his reputation that was in danger.
Woods released multiple statements tiptoeing around the elephant in the room. As more women claimed to have been involved with Woods, he eventually made another statement. Woods admitted that he had been unfaithful, apologizing to his wife, children, and others he had disappointed.
I owe a lot of people an apology. I hurt a lot of people, not just my wife, my friends, my colleagues, the public, kids who looked up to me. There were a lot of people that thought I was a different person.
Woods announced he'd be seeking therapy and taking a break from golf. While Woods would make a professional comeback in the years that followed, his marriage to Eileen Nordgren ended in 2010. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. RFK Jr. admitting that he once dumped a bear carcass in Central Park wasn't on our bingo sheet for 2024. In retrospect, though, maybe it should have been.
A woman in a van in front of me hit a bear and killed it, a young bear. So I pulled over and I picked up the bear and put him in the back of my van.
Based on Kennedy's accounts, the incident occurred a decade earlier when another driver struck the bear. Rather than call animal control, Kennedy loaded the carcass into his car, planning to skin it and refrigerate the meat. Kennedy changed his mind about halfway through, instead deciding to leave the bear's remains in Central Park, arranging the body to make it seem like a biker hit it.
I said, let's go put the bear in Central Park and we'll make it look like he got hit by a bike. It'll be funny for people.
The New York State Department of Environmental Conservation deemed that Kennedy's possession and disposal of the bear was illegal. Since the statute of limitations had passed, though, he avoided a $250 fine. Sharon Osbourne, appearing on the game show Would I Lie to You? The Osbourne family matriarch recalled a house fire that occurred around Christmas. Ozzy was set ablaze, but Sharon managed to get him into a fountain.
So then outside, there was a fountain.
Right.
So I pushed Ozzy out.
You threw him in the fountain?
And then
made
the
a wish.
arm. And
Sharon proceeded to fetch their assistant from the guest house, telling him to get their paintings and dogs out of the burning building. Osbourne then gloated about firing the assistant. This story was true, although Osbourne later clarified that she actually fired the assistant years after the incident.
What's the real story? You actually didn't fire him, or you did fire him, not you fired him? You fired him later?
I fired him about 15 years later.
Oh.
Osbourne acted as if this made things better, but she still prioritized her dogs over a human life. At one point, Osbourne even said she took the assistant's mask while she was receiving oxygen, putting it on her dog instead. Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis. Many struggle to rewatch that 70s show, not only because Danny Masterson was found guilty on 2 counts of sexual assault, but because some of his former co-stars supported him during the trial.
In their unreserved praise, Ashton says of his 25-year friendship with Masterson, "I don't ever recall him lying to me. He also set an extraordinary standard around how you treat other people."
Amid Masterson's sentencing, it was revealed that Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis had written character references, describing him as a role model and brother figure. The two didn't deny writing the letters, although they acted as if their privacy had been invaded. Kutcher noted that they were intended for the judge, failing to acknowledge that writing the letters in the first place was misguided.
They were intended for the judge to read. And not to undermine the testimony of the victims or re-traumatize them in any way. We would never want to do that.
While Kunis said that they support victims, many felt the damage had been done. The couple didn't make matters better with their so-called apology. Matthew Broderick. Vacationing in Northern Ireland with his then-girlfriend and Ferris Bueller co-star Jennifer Grey, Matthew Broderick was behind the wheel when they struck another vehicle. Broderick was in the wrong lane, a mistake that cost a mother and daughter their lives.
I was in shock because I was the only living witness, and Matthew was unconscious and had amnesia, and the other two women died.
The actor faced a dangerous driving charge that could have resulted in a 5-year sentence. Although this was adjusted to a more lenient, careless driving charge. While Broderick had endured memory loss, he entered a guilty plea. Despite his admission, Broderick only had to pay a $175 fine. Martin Doherty, the son and brother of the victims, forgave Broderick years after the 1987 crash.
And it had very serious, traumatic, lasting effects on, I'm sure, Matthew and the family of the other women and me.
Broderick said that it was extremely difficult coming to grips with what happened, but time and therapy helped. Felicity Huffman and Lori Loughlin. During the 2019 Varsity Blues scandal, two names stood out among the accused. Lori Loughlin of Full House fame and Emmy winner Felicity Huffman. Loughlin, along with her husband Massimo Giannulli, pleaded guilty to conspiracy to commit mail and wire fraud.
The day of reckoning has come for Lori Loughlin and her husband as they plead guilty in federal court.
Huffman also accepted a plea deal, admitting that she conspired to commit mail fraud and honest services mail fraud. While Loughlin and Giannulli got 2 and 5 months respectively, Huffman's sentence was just 2 weeks. She'd get out 2 days early, although Huffman would still have to pay $30,000 and commit to 250 community service hours.
It seemed like, and I know this seems crazy at the time, that was my only option to give my daughter a future. And I know hindsight is 20/20, but it felt like I would be a bad mother if I didn't do it.
Loughlin was fined 5 times more than Huffman, although she only received 100 hours of community service. You don't need a college degree to know that cheating is wrong. Milli Vanilli. Speaking of cheaters, there's no Grammy for Best Lip Syncing. That would have been more than a fitting category for R&B duo Milli Vanilli, who won Best New Artist in 1990.
A lot of artists here in this room, there are a lot of artists outside in the world who can achieve the same award that we achieved today. And it's an award for all artists in the world. Thank you very much.
Members Fab Morvan and Rob Pilatus were stripped of this honor as it came to light that they didn't provide their own vocals for the album Girl You Know It's True. Although Morvan and Pilatus were capable of carrying a note, they confirmed that it wasn't them on the album. As such, they didn't fight to keep their award. A day after their Grammy-winning status was rescinded, Morvan and Pilatus gave a press conference supporting the Recording Academy's decision. As the duo saw it, they made a deal with the devil.
The pair now hope to continue recording as Rob and Fab, the German and the French.
Liam Neeson. This actor is known for playing badasses who just take justice into their own hands.
If you let my daughter go now, that'll be the end of it. I will not look for you. I will not pursue you. But if you don't, I will look for you. I will find you. And I will kill you.
This real-life incident was far from heroic, however. Doing press for the revenge movie Cold Pursuit, Neeson recalled how a female friend had been sexually assaulted years earlier. Little was known about her attacker other than that he was a black man. Neeson spent a week roaming the streets, hoping a black person would pick a fight so he could kill him. The way Neeson worded the story made it sound like he wanted to take his anger out on any black man. Looking back, Neeson felt ashamed about his actions.
And I'm a fairly intelligent guy, and that's why it kind of shocked me when I came down to earth after having these horrible feelings.
He had never told anyone up until this interview. Even Neeson seemed uncertain why he was confessing this now. Lena Dunham. Though the comedy Girls, Lena Dunham was praised for presenting a brutally honest look at being a young woman in this day and age,
to this book that I am willing to get pretty thrifty on this.
Why don't you get a job and start a blog? You are so spoiled.
Dunham got a little too honest in her memoir, though, chronicling a disturbing childhood incident with her sibling, Cyrus. Dunham wrote about inappropriately touching her sibling, opening a debate on whether she had committed sexual assault. Some argued that Dunham was young, curious, and didn't know any better. Others felt she had crossed a serious boundary and then made light of it with passages like, "Anything a sexual predator might do to woo a small suburban girl, I was trying." Dunham acknowledged that her word choice was poor. But however you phrase it, this was TMI.
I'm aware of the criticisms and I'm able to live with them.
Sean Penn. This two-time Oscar winner has a reputation for erratic behavior, but that didn't make this revelation any less shocking. Okay, maybe a little. Dropping by John Mulaney's talk show, the host asked Penn to talk about his teen years.
You growing up in Malibu?
Mm-hmm. Partly.
Were you did you like get in scraps and fights?
Growing up in Malibu, Penn and his friends felt compelled to protect their surf turf from outsiders. He did so by torching a guy's van with a Molotov cocktail on one occasion. Penn and his pals were able to get away with crimes like arson since they had family in the sheriff's departments.
One of the deputies that we would encounter was the big brother of one of us. And so that allowed for more
Molotov cocktail bombing.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Reflecting on his youth, Penn conceded that their actions might have been kind of reckless. Why do we get the sense that Penn was just like the surfer gang in that Nick Cage movie? Kristi Noem. Remember when Barack Obama swatting a fly was considered controversial? Now Washington has an authority figure who didn't just kill a dog.
To include the story about the dog, it's not gone down well. Many people are questioning your political future.
Well, I don't think you have the facts straight. This was a vicious, dangerous dog that was a working dog. And I had to make a choice between the safety of my children and an animal that was killing livestock and attacking people.
She bragged about it in a book for the whole world to read. Before becoming Secretary of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem took her family dog Cricket on a hunting trip. Although Cricket was just over a year old, still technically puppy age, Noem concluded that she couldn't be trained. Cricket chased the birds instead of hunting them. Although she did attack some chickens.
That story is in the book because I want people to know that I'm honest and that when I have difficult jobs, that I take responsibility myself.
After Cricket bit Noem, she decided it was old yeller time. Oh, and then she killed a goat. Some might describe this as an irrefutable act of animal cruelty. Of course, Noem isn't above human cruelty either. Paula Deen. To say this celebrity chef landed in hot water would be an understatement.
Food is a vehicle that gets you here with me. But look at this, and look at that.
It was more like a boiling pot of butter that just kept overflowing. Deen and her brother Earl Bubba Hires stood accused of sexual and racial discrimination in the workplace. While the lawsuit wasn't a good look, there was a possibility that Deen could move past this chapter as long as she was careful with her words. Everything collapsed when Deen was questioned about whether she'd ever used a particular racial slur. Her response? Yes, of course. Deen also confirmed that she had considered arranging a Southern plantation-themed wedding with black male servers.
Do you have any doubt in your mind that African Americans are offended by the N-word?
I don't know, Matt. I have asked myself that so many times.
The Food Network ultimately terminated their ties to Deen, whose attempts at apologizing came off as disingenuous. Steven Tyler. In 2022, Julia Misley, aka Julia Holcomb, took out a lawsuit against the Aerosmith frontman, claiming that he sexually abused her and made her terminate a pregnancy.
I was just shocked. I couldn't imagine even thinking about having an abortion. I had thought I was going to get married and have a baby and start a family.
The relationship allegedly started when Misley was a teenager and Tyler was several years older. The so-called Smoking Gun, Tyler's memoir, which had been published over a decade beforehand. While Tyler had a different perspective, he did open up about gaining guardianship of Misley, writing, "With my bad self being 26 and she barely old enough to drive and sexy as hell, I just fell madly in love with her." Tyler also described her as his partner in crimes of passion, presenting the relationship as consensual.
And BB, but you were irresponsible. Were you not irresponsible?
I was.
Yeah.
I was.
Whether or not it was, Misley still would have been underage. Cardi B. Cardi B might not be proud of her past, although that doesn't mean she feels all that bad about it. Foreshadowing her future role in the movie Hustlers, the rapper used to be a stripper. While there's certainly nothing wrong with that, it wasn't Cardi B's only source of income. She also used substances on men and took their money. Cardi B first talked about her former life of crime in 2016, just as she was starting to make a name for herself. The artist went on to explain that her options were limited and she was just trying to survive. She recognized that her actions shouldn't be glorified, but if Cardi could do it all over again, she likely wouldn't change a thing. James Frey. The life of James Frey isn't the one that he sold to Oprah and the countless others who read his book A Million Little Pieces. Presented as a memoir, it covered Frey's history with substance use, criminal activity, and recovery.
That book coming out and the controversies related to it were obviously a big moment for me, but probably not in the ways people might think.
As the book began to dominate the bestseller list, investigators found that not everything added up. Although aspects of Frey's story were true, many of them were grossly embellished. Some might even call a few details straight-up lies. Frey initially tried to downplay the fictional nature of his book.
I did that show, and I was pretty defensive. I was defending my turf and defending every single viewer who had bought that book. I am standing here on behalf of the reader who's pissed off.
When Oprah brought him in on her show in 2006, though, Frey relented that he wasn't in jail for 87 days as the book claimed. It was only a few hours. Lance Armstrong. Lance Armstrong was once the definition of inspirational. To his credit, Armstrong did overcome some major obstacles, such as cancer.
He went from survivor to victor in what was called at the time one of the most unbelievable comebacks in sports history.
Armstrong wins the Tour de France.
For 7 straight years, he dominated arguably the hardest sporting event in the world.
Unfortunately, Armstrong's legacy is largely defined by his deceit in the world of sports. Between 1999 and 2005, the cyclist won the Tour de France 7 straight times. While there was speculation of doping going as far back as his first victory, Armstrong consistently denied this. Fans generally believed him until 2012, when the United States Anti-Doping Agency concluded that the rumors were true.
What we had to do to win.
Once again, it was Oprah who interviewed the accused. Although Armstrong claimed that some allegations were false, he admitted that not all of his tour titles were achieved honestly. By then, Armstrong's honors had been taken away. Mark Wahlberg. You could say that Mark Wahlberg came from humble beginnings, going from an ordinary Boston kid to singer to actor. Just because Wahlberg didn't grow up rich doesn't mean his upbringing wasn't without privilege. White privilege.
I'm from the wrong side of the tracks, I think. You know, I'm trying to work my way into good grades.
During his teen years, Wahlberg and his friends physically and verbally attacked multiple people of color. In 1988, he assaulted 2 Vietnamese men, Thanh Lam and Hoa Trinh. Wahlberg pleaded guilty, serving 45 days of a 3-month sentence. He expressed regret about his mistakes in 2006, with Trinh ultimately forgiving Wahlberg. At the same time, Wahlberg tried to have his crimes removed from the record, another choice he'd regret.
About that, I've been committed to turning my life around and becoming a productive person in the community.
Victor Salva. This director is known for his work on the first 3 Jeepers Creepers movies. Salva's actions behind the scenes are far more horrifying, however. In 1988, a year before his feature debut Clown House came out, Salva was at the center of a sexual abuse case against a minor, Nathan Forrest Winters.
Some of the cast and crew came to my mom and said, you know, Nathan and Victor's interaction on set is not okay.
Salva also stood accused of possessing inappropriate imagery of children. He pleaded guilty to several charges, serving 15 months of a 3-year sentence. While his incarceration was relatively short, you'd think that his confession and conviction would have been career-ending. Even after Salva's crimes gained more traction in 2006, he continued to find work.
But I'm also the writer-director of Powder and Peaceful Warrior and Rites of Passage. I love drama, and I do drama very well, too.
His most recent directorial credit was in 2017. Although Winters has remained vocal about what Salva did to him. Chris Brown. To some, Chris Brown is better known for his toxic relationship with Rihanna than his music. Although Brown is still consistently releasing new albums, his reputation has never been able to shake his 2009 domestic violence arrest.
And like I said, I'm really sorry for what went down and what happened.
The case against Brown was as evident as the marks on his then-girlfriend's face. Brown decided to turn himself in, releasing an apology. Even so, Brown initially delivered a not guilty plea when presented with felony assault charges. It wasn't long until Brown accepted the plea deal, however. While it didn't entail jail time, Brown got 5 years probation, a year of mandatory counseling, and 6 months of community labor.
At a time, I didn't know how to put those feelings, out there. I didn't know how to say it, or I didn't know how to express myself without it being anger.
Years later, Brown reflected on the experience, which made him feel like a monster. Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Jared Fogle. Before 2015, the public assumed that the worst thing the former Subway spokesperson could do was eat a Big Mac.
Then I found Subway restaurants. And I realized I could enjoy lots of great tasting food without lots of fat.
There was a far more menacing side of Jared Fogle that wouldn't become general knowledge until he was arrested for various sex crimes involving children. Subway wasn't going to bail Jared out. Fogle entered a guilty plea, being sentenced to more than 15 years in federal prison.
Jared Fogle expects to go to prison. He will do his time. He expects to get well. He expects to continue to make amends to those people whose lives he has affected.
Outside of an apology around the time of his sentencing, Fogle remained mostly silent until 2021, when he released a handwritten letter from prison. Fogle stated, "I really royally screwed up to wind up where I am." Jared might not be incarcerated forever, but it's hard to imagine him ever coming back from this. Can you think of any other celebrities who confessed to terrible things? Let us know in the comments.